Hey y'all, it's your girl Nadia.
And it's me, Coach T.
And we are two average people.
Yes, we are.
Welcome back to our podcast.
And we're back home in the studio.
Back home in the studio.
Home from Phoenix.
It's beautiful.
It was
y'all.
beautiful out there.
It's a beautiful city, a beautiful town.
Beautiful wedding.
Beautiful weather.
Beautiful people.
Beautiful
What can we
people.
say?
Yeah. You know, we wanted to continue our series on self-care. You know, if you didn't catch our last podcast on the 7 areas of self-care that we're going to talk about, please check it out.
We'll link it. Make sure you can see it.
But we wanted to break it down even further.
Yeah.
You know, because we believe that self-care is so important into not only maintaining your well-being, but really having the beauty in your relationship.
All right, let's jump into it.
All right, y'all, let's jump into this. Mental self-care.
Yeah.
I know I have struggled with it. It's definitely something that I'm trying to keep in mind. And so, you know, I have my notes because I can't remember everything. So remember that creating a healthy mindset involves making a conscious effort to think positively, setting realistic goals for yourself, and focusing on the moment.
Okay, let's see what that looks like.
We're not trying to tell you to be happy all the time, right?
Yeah.
Like, life happens, you get stressed, you get sad, you're overworked, mental overload, which we're going to touch on in a bit, right? But this is really getting yourself in a place that you can actually cope when it gets difficult, right? And so we established 5 things that you can do. Of course, there's tons, but we just want to focus on 5. And the first one we talk about is setting boundaries. This is a big one.
That's a big one.
Right? Establishing personal boundaries is a great way to reduce mental overload. Determine what is essential and important and let go of any guilt if you are not able to do everything you're set out to do.
That's
right?
Setting boundaries. I could talk to that one. Setting boundaries is such a huge deal because a lot of time what happens is, especially from a dad and a husband's perspective, you kind of want to, like we said last episode, you want to put it all on your back and, you know, walk the whole family, the whole tribe through the finish line. And you can't always do that. And sometimes setting boundaries is the best way for you to be able to operate well within yourself, just to be able to show up well when you actually do want to or need to show up as a husband and a father. So
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
I agree 100%, babe. And I think it's hard to set boundaries with your family.
That's the toughie.
And your friends.
That's the toughie.
Because I know for me, I feel very selfish when I'm doing that. You know, I work long days. And so when I'm home, you know, I should be able to give my family all of me all the time. But how am I going to do that if I never took time to recharge? Something like that.
A lot of the time, hey, shout out to the quiet time, especially with the kids. It really does help. We're going to keep going, but just FYI, that's some good word for you. That quiet time together, a lot of the time they just want to be together.
Right.
They just want to be together, no matter how busy you are. Right. Just let me be in the same space as you, which is fair. It's understandable.
Important, y'all.
Yeah, let's keep going.
So set those boundaries. All right, number 2. We want to talk about being mindful. This is because what does that mean, right?
Mindfulness is important.
Mindfulness. So being mindful means to focus on the present moment and observe your thoughts and feelings without judgment. Ooh. I feel like I'm talking to myself.
Observe your thoughts and feelings without judgment, which means judging you. You are judging you.
Judging you.
You judging you.
It also says it's a way of tuning into yourself and listening to what your body and mind are trying to tell you. This can be especially useful when you are dealing with difficult or painful emotions. So,
you tend to want to run when you feel something bad. You tend to want to dodge it or just skip it, you know, emotionally speaking. So, yeah.
That one is really, that's layered. But I know for you, babe, this week has been really tough for you.
Yes.
And
yes.
you were mentally and physically drained.
Yeah, I was completely exhausted. Honestly, I was to the point where my mind and my body were just like, No, we're ready to stop now.
Right.
So
And
full stop.
if you know my husband, he is the type of person where he's like, there's time. I have to make the best use of my time.
That's it.
And I have to tell him sometimes that is taking a nap or taking a vacation day for yourself from work.
That's
We
true.
don't have to go to Phoenix for you to, you know what I'm saying?
That's
or
true.
just chilling and watching, you know, but he's always like, well, that's, you know, wasting time. I got stuff to do.
I got stuff to do. I kind of feel like, okay, I'm sitting here and this is great, but I mean, I guess while I'm sitting here, I could just type up this script right quick and just make, that's kind of how it happens. And my body and my mind were like, no, we are stopping. And I had to not be mad at myself about it. In fact, I had to just go, you know what?
We're stopping.
I'm stopping. I guess I'm stopping here. So
And I don't have a choice.
good luck, everyone else. 'Cause I'm stopping. This is what it is. But at the end of the day, it was good because now I feel a lot more refreshed. I'm still not 100%, but I feel a lot more with it to get back and go, hey, I'm sorry. That might have sucked when I stopped, didn't it? I had to stop, but I can acknowledge it and let's keep going.
Not at all.
That's the cool part about
because, I mean, even our daughter earlier in the week was like, what's wrong with daddy? And I'm like, nothing's wrong with daddy. He's just tired. But to her, his tired came across angry or upset.
Yeah.
And he's not an angry tired, but obviously when we all get to that point, we're like, everybody get out the way. Like, leave me alone.
Move.
Stop talking to me. And so she
Move.
perceived that as, what's wrong with daddy? And I'm like, nothing, baby. He's just tired.
He's
Because, I
tired.
mean, we traveled and all those things. And so even those little
Yeah,
conversations
it's
and
true.
explaining those things. And it's like, look, I just want to be. But then you have to explain and talk. And
But I think it's the not judging yourself part
Right.
that you really have to focus on with that. Because I
Right.
think people will demand time, but demand it in a way that people can hear you, and
Yeah.
not just in a way that people will take offense to it.
Right.
And be willing to not beat yourself up about it on the other side of it.
Number 3, we're going to talk about curiosity. This one, when I was we were working on this. It was really interesting because
Show prep for this episode was dope.
I was like, so we came up with curiosity is also a key part of managing mental health. How? When we can pause, observe our thoughts and feelings, and approach them with a sense of curiosity, we often experience less reactivity and can learn from difficult moments. Instead of trying to push away our thoughts or feelings, we can learn to approach them with wonder and openness. This can often help us to gain insight and to better understand why we may be struggling. So
Wow.
that really hit home, and we were talking about it because I was like, instead of knocking yourself, again, the no judgment piece
no
that
judgment.
you talked about, how can we look at what we're feeling as and learn from it and grow from it? Okay, so if I am frustrated, I'm talking to my friend and I'm frustrated with my friend. Instead of saying, oh my gosh, I am so frustrated, I cannot do this anymore, I can look internally and say, but what is causing this frustration? Why am I frustrated? It may not even be a person, but really giving yourself grace and patience and saying, okay, where is this stemming from?
Yeah. It's kind of giving yourself the latitude to not be led by your emotions, not led by your emotions, but it gives you a chance to make a different choice. So you might be angry in the moment because of something that may have happened, but choosing curiosity in the moment is a really good vehicle to kind of get you away from getting trapped in the wheelhouse that can be emotions.
Yes.
You get into one and then you start spinning a little fast and you get into another, you start feeling a little, and next thing you know, a whole situation is blown way out of proportion. It's not that your feelings were invalid. It's just that the response didn't warrant the situation didn't warrant the response. And giving yourself curiosity as an option gives you a chance to really decide, to really take some time and go, okay, So now when you decide that, no, this time I have to put my foot down, you can do it, but you can also do it gracefully because
Right.
you know, okay, I'm settled in myself. I know what this is. This is my boundary. Thank you. And it doesn't have to be anything more than that because
Anything
you
more.
started with,
Yep.
let me check myself. Am I okay? Did I do this right?
Right.
I wonder what made me feel like this
Right.
internally inside me.
Right.
And once I'm done dealing with that, externally it's just formality now.
Right.
So
Right.
yeah.
I love it, babe.
Yeah.
Well said,
Curiosity
honey.
is a
great,
powerful tool
right.
to defeat yourself and getting stuck in your own brain, which happens to me a whole
All the time. Oh, why? You know, and you end up judging yourself.
Yes.
But the
It
goal
comes
is not
right
to
back
judge yourself. The
Exactly.
goal is to seek understanding. Why are you feeling angry towards this thing? And one of the greatest things that I have learned is that two things can be true at the same time. I am frustrated with this thing, but I'm frustrated with my job, but I'm also grateful that I have a job.
Yes.
You know, so they both can be true. All right, let's talk about reducing mental overload. Just taking a few minutes a day, you should do this every day to be mindful, can help reduce mental overload.
Mm-hmm.
Focus on sensations, thoughts, and feelings, as well as your physical environment. This can help create a sense of calm and reduce stress. Reframe how you think about things and work on viewing challenges as an opportunity to grow. Sorry, y'all. We had some technical difficulties. But we're back and we're going to keep going.
In different clothes.
You know how it is.
It is, yeah. It is what it is.
But we were talking about setting realistic goals.
Mm-hmm.
So just to recap, we don't be too hard on yourself.
Right.
Right? Because it's very, very important that you set small goals and try to attain those. Sometimes, I know I do this, the goals are so big and then I beat myself up when I can't achieve them. You know, so focus on small goals and work towards those, especially if you find yourself overwhelmed with so many tasks.
Yes.
You know, prioritizing. And then when you find yourself reaching those smaller goals, eventually you kind of feel like, hey, I achieved something, or, you know, I actually was successful at this thing, you know, because you set realistic goals for yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. Having that milestone goal to work from allows you to be able to just have momentum from where you're pulling from and be able to take that energy and place it into the next set of tasks that we're doing.
Yes.
Who was it in the book called The Total Money Makeover? Was it Dave Ramsey?
Uh-huh.
He talks about the snowball effect and taking your bills down to zero if you can, and starting with the smallest bill and paying that off, and then taking that same money and applying it to the next one, plus what you were already putting on it and paying that off, and so forth and so on, and snowballing it all the way down to the most expensive. Same thing here. Set the milestone, achieve the goal.
Yes.
Have the confidence and the energy to keep going.
Celebrate the small wins and be kind with yourself. Okay?
Yeah,
and
I like that.
That will help your motivation and your confidence. Very, very important. Okay? So again, we are focusing on self-care. This is all part of self-care.
All part of self-care.
Which is the first step into really being your whole self and your full self in any relationship, whether it's with your parents, with your children, but especially with your spouse. You got to take care of you first.
Yes.
Okay? We want to leave you with this thought that we came up with. Developing a healthy mindset takes time, patience, and effort, but it can be done.
Yes.
If you find yourself struggling, don't be afraid to reach out to a mental health care professional for help and support.
And don't be afraid to reach out to us to be able to provide some group support for you as well, because
Absolutely.
we understand what it is, and we're trying to make sure that we do our part inside of the community to help build stronger families.
Absolutely.
We're, like we always say, we're better together.
We're
we mean
together.
that.
Right.
And we mean that. That's something we believe in seriously.
Yes.
So.
Yes. And that's how we're going to end this. We are better together.
Together.
We'll see you guys next time.